tonight, but I don't know if we're going to get it. We're going to have to. So we have to figure out who the bylaw committee is, and then who the chair is. So
You just want comments.
Okay. Great, thank you.
We give all this.
I thought we did that.
They have mine. They just take it.
We talked about getting it, getting the invitation sent.
This is a public document, so if you really don't want your last name or whatever, you can do that.
As long as they ain't got my address, we get it.
Yeah, well, they can look that
Cracking
up.
up at the Libertarian Party giving it over to the NSA.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah, well, let's just say we're aware of it. It's America's backup. Yeah. They have it all.
So if my computer crashes, I can just get touch with
Call the other day, say, hey.
Oh, good.
Backup, please.
Okay.
We're live. Sending out the Hangouts link.
Mike, have you been notified that Mr. Stapleton is not going to be here, or if he is?
As far as I know, he's coming, but I haven't been notified anyway.
Usually he announces.
Yeah, and some of his emails talk about some things, but I don't know if he's gonna be here. Like the opening of the legislative session and all that kind of stuff.
Nothing for me this month.
I do have some reminder. So this is worthless paperwork. And that's just a receipt for the disc to prove I didn't use it for that Brazilian vacation. And then these are the checks that have already been deposited and the paperwork that came with it. You have all that already. But so it's not in my office, that's all I ask.
Cost a buck.
Yeah. Literally in this case. Did you see this?
Hey, those YouTube links are available on the calendar.
Put it down.
That I read. I had a live stream.
Oh,
Do you have access to that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should let everyone in the organization.
I mean, I would have just used it. I wouldn't have asked myself.
Okay.
Well,
Because I have those links from the city that created it.
So I think it's more than.
Okay, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. It's 7:01. Thank you, everybody, for coming. First of all, has everybody read the agenda for tonight?
Yes. Unless it's been modified.
Are there any changes that you want to have put on the agenda? Okay, it's approved as written. Guys, tonight, by the request of a couple board members, we are going to continue our meetings formally as we did last month. So we're going to continue that. We have several guests with us. And if you would, please introduce yourself. We'll start here and then go around the room, introduce yourself and tell us why you're here.
Good evening. I'm Frank Atwood. I am your liaison to Center Right Coalition. Also happen to be a founding member of the Approval Voting Party. But this morning's Center Right Coalition here was held here. There's a couple of handouts that I'm going to circulate, and the circle and the arrow at the top lets you know, keep it circulating, going clockwise. Center Right Coalition invitation for Harsani this Wednesday for a book release, a raffle for training, carbon tax. But about 15 minutes, surprisingly, at Center Right was spent by Representative Beckman, who happens to be my representative. She's one of the few Republicans that survived. And what she focused on was the Democrat software on the ground. Traditionally, there's wetware, the actual people, the hardware, if you've got hardware, and sometimes referred to as software of pushing the effort. And she feels that Trump may have motivated people, but what was implemented was recruiting Democrats to tip critical districts. And she almost got tipped. She looks back on it and realizes the Democrats recruited 5,000 fresh voters, and she won by about 120. So that's that literature. Also, as known as a libertarian, and election commission member in Littleton, I was invited to training which focused on the concept of wicked problems, not evil people. So if you're interested, if that topic sounds interesting, check back with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Is that all the report you have for us?
That's the report, yes. Is
Okay.
that too long?
That's perfect. Thank you for
Okay.
keeping it short.
Hi, I'm Thomas McWhirter. I've just been kind of following more with the Libertarian Party and looking to be more involved moving forwards.
Thank you for coming. Josh, you would be next.
I am Joshua Robertson. I am the Vice Chair of Adams County. I'm also here just to understand how the board meetings work, and I'm also one of the membership directors, so I'm also here to understand how that position works, to speak to Matthew a little bit later, to an idea of what my job will entail as well. So.
Thank you for coming, Josh. Okay.
Hello, my name is Cindy Sovine. I'm a lobbyist and political consultant, and I'm here with the Decriminalized Denver Campaign for Psilocybin. So I'll be talking to you a little bit about that.
Okay. I have 10 minutes for you in our new business section of the meeting.
My name is Joe Jackson, and I am here just observing.
Thank you for coming. All right. Has everybody read the minutes for tonight, or the minutes from last month? Mike has been doing a great job getting those out pretty quickly after the meetings. We thank you for that, Mike. Does anybody have any changes that need to be made on the minutes? Okay, the minutes are adopted as written. Next, we have a couple new people. Would you please introduce yourself and tell us why you're here?
Yes, everyone, thank you. My name is Kevin Matthews, and I'm here with Cindy Sovine, and we're representing the Denver Psilocybin Initiative.
We'll have 10 minutes for you when we get to the new business part of our meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, officer reports. The chair has nothing to add. Vice chair is not here. Have you been asked to speak to her board report?
I have Michelle's proxy, and as far as I know, her report stands.
Okay. Thank you, David.
Nothing to add.
Okay. Campaigns.
My apologies, had computer issues, and then realizing that nothing's actually going on with campaigns, and I had to do the campaigns committee report.
Okay, so we have no report from you for this month.
No, life just
You may.
To add to campaigns, I would like, one of the things that John and I have done in Pueblo, now that all the elections have been certified, we asked the county clerk for the abstract precinct by precinct, because John had two goals running his campaign. One, win precincts, and he did. He won at least 8 precincts. And 2, make the Democrats spend a lot of money, and he did make them spend a lot of money. Over $50,000 in a local Senate race. So
good.
But yeah, if you and then we're taking that abstract information which precincts have the pockets that lean Libertarian, so we can kind of focus on them to build our affiliate.
Those abstracts, are they available now or? expected
Yes,
to come
yeah,
soon?
you just have to ask if you're a candidate, you don't have to go through the core process. You can just ask the county clerk for it and he will give you the detailed information.
All right, Kevin is not here, our outreach director is not here.
Do you have a proxy for Kevin?
Who?
No, you can't double proxy.
Yeah.
I can't have two votes.
So Kevin does not have a proxy for tonight. Mr. Gallant.
Nothing to add to my report, but I just had a sort of a comment on the motion there. So does that, or a question, I guess, so Lance, does that mean you can go ahead and set, I imagine Morgan up with that LPCO address?
Yep.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Stapleton.
I don't have anything to add to my report other than just some general discussion on how we're going to move forward legislative with the absence of Principles of Liberty Colorado this session. David can attest as well as I can. That helped lighten our load a lot. And I don't know, I'm going to get a message out to the people who volunteered for the committee, but other than that, it's going to kind of be a pick and choose process from the Legislative Action Committee, what we're going to rate and go after.
But there's 600 bills. I mean, how, just the picking and choosing, how are you going to do that?
It's going to be extremely difficult because we don't have the volunteer base. But I do want to put the word out that if there's any way that step up and help donate to Principles of Liberty Colorado to get them back to where they need to be educational wise for 2020, it's going to be a good opportunity to do so.
Do we have a motion to have our communications director put that on Facebook?
I think we can. I mean, their email was a broadcast email. I think we could share that. And it's Principles of Liberty Colorado.
Okay.
And they made our job easier, as we were one of the only political parties who took their weekly ratings, sent out our weekly legislative action alerts with what was going on at the state capitol to get people engaged. And without it, it severely hampers that effort.
Would you put it as a motion, please, Mike?
I move that we help get the word out through and even possibly on our emails to help get the message out to support Principles of Liberty Colorado.
Second. Okay. Would you like to speak with that any further, Mike? Okay, Ms. Stabenow?
I just had a question for Mike that's not to do with the motion, so I'll wait until after.
Okay. Do we have any objections to that? Okay, the motion is to get the word out to support the Principles of Liberty, both through email as well as through Facebook, any social media that we have. Mr. DG?
Oh, Michael, I just want to ask, do you think, and this is just me just kind of just throwing positive ball, do you think amidst like the people that you have working on legislative issues that you might be able to find people's interest? You find your gun people, your regulation people, et cetera, and then maybe send it over to them to build people around them to focus on that.
That would be ideal if we have issue-oriented people that we could, that as the committee goes through the legislation and decides what we're going to support or oppose actively, if we could get it to those people who that's something of special interest to them, that would definitely help. And that way they could even, it's going to be a push for me. I mean, I can go through the process of how we rated bills to offer the principles. to get people more in tune that way instead of taking, because it's, if you've ever been through any of their trainings or get an understanding of how it works, it's principles oriented.
It's not issue oriented.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it's really, so, you know, if because there's a lot of stuff that didn't rate because it didn't align with any of the principles either way. But yeah, I mean, we can't just not do it. We cannot not keep our Libertarian Party of Colorado members informed of what's happening in the state capitol, especially with a Democrat majority in both chambers and a Democrat governor. We just can't let them run free. We've got to have some type of engagement and opposition.
Okay. Any further discussion? Once again, the motion is to get the word out through social media to support principles of liberty through any means that we have at our disposal. Do we have any objections to this? Okay, this passes as without objection. Anything else you want to add to your report, Mike?
I was gonna move something to new business. We can talk about it now. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult with Kevin not here. But hopefully we can get something put together between Matt and Kevin and myself with the Libertarian Legislative Lobby Day. Hopefully we can get it scheduled and on the calendar sometime early February. That'd be a prime time to do it before they get into budget issues and before they get, it gives time for us to circulate and communicate with the legislators and stuff before they're too enamored and
okay. That committee's already been formed. Have to do anything on that?
No, we just have to pick a date between Matt and Kevin and myself, and then start getting it announced and promoted.
Okay. All right. Mr. DG.
Let's see here. The only thing I have to add, just to ask for a little bit of apologies. I ran into a really tough skid. That's why I couldn't get the board dinner scheduled, because up north it's kind of where I am and bad place. I'm asking the board if for a date in January to do this. I don't know who can north. That's part of the thing, is who can actually make that drive up towards Fort Collins, Loveland. So we kind of know who we're scheduling this. I think it's, me, Lance, Kim are the closest ones up there. So I'd like to kind of know who can make it, and then we can pick a date among those people that it's convenient for those folks. Because back working again, rocking and rolling, so I should be able to get this going again.
Okay. That is something that should be done in conjunction with a fundraising director, which we don't have right now. So maybe we can get some additional help from some of the other board members at this point. Mr. Glunt?
Well, I had a question. So you were thinking Larimer County?
Yeah, I'm thinking if we do it somewhere, because you have Johnstown and Loveland that like touch each other on I-25 right there. That's a good point. It's 20 minutes from Fort Collins, 20 minutes from Longmont, et cetera, 20 from Greeley. It'd be a good central point.
Because I was thinking, because I'm looking at doing something with Weld in January, and what about maybe trying to combine that?
See, that was something that I thought about, for like kind of doing a
Because I've got like
kickoff on
5
that.
volunteers roughly. I know you know like 3 of them, and I've got some new ones.
Yeah, and the place, and we will need a place, because the gentleman Tim McCarthy I was talking to about the place, he's gonna actually looks like he's gonna be out of town on a mission in January. Okay. So, that was something. Yeah, get that going as a kickoff, and maybe we can get Larimer and Weld bumping off of that one event.
Yeah.
So your anticipated month is
January. And Josh, and that's something, if you would like to assist me on a project getting going, the dinner with the board would be something that would be good to make some calls and things if you care to take part.
Let me get with you and actually get more details.
Sure, you got it, buddy.
okay. What else, Mr. DG?
Nothing more.
That's all you want to present tonight?
No, I have all my proposals down on the agenda at the bottom of the there,
You
Wayne.
can do them now if you'd like, or we can put them in new business.
If you got the time, I've
Hold on
got.
1 second, Mrs. Harlows?
Well, you have to ask if there's an objection. I'm not entitled to speak unless.
That would be true. Would you like to do it now, or would you like to do it under new business?
Let's just do a segment for new business.
Do we have any objections to moving the additional pieces that Matt has into new business? Objections? Okay. In the rest of your report, Mr. DG, there was some ideas put forth. How about the activity for the last month?
What's that?
How about the activity for the last month?
What activity?
Your activity for the last month.
My activity has been formulating these proposals that I'm putting forth to the board here. With these 4 ideas, I think we're going to have something really good to move into the new year with.
Okay. Ms. Harlows?
Is there an objection?
Is there an objection to having Ms. Harlows speak to this?
I just had a couple questions. Last meeting, I had asked about the national party numbers and what's the plan to get us back to number 10? Do you know where we're at in the numbers and what's the
I
different?
think the number I saw was 465, Karen Ann.
I don't have.
I don't have it in front of me. If you the plan to get this up, and this is a very complex question, okay? And this is the idea is, and what I've been struggling with, and I think other people have been struggling with too, if you look at fundraising, things like that, is ultimately the idea of what are we selling, okay? And working with these ideas that I have with these proposals coming up here, I think we're going to be able to say, if we're working on these, we have a good direction, we have something to sell. And I think through these initiatives, these proposals, if we can develop these, the membership is going to come along with them. And I do believe that campaigns is going to have a lot to do with it because that's where we're going to be doing our door work.
So for follow-ups on that, what Colorado is doing doesn't have much to do with national party memberships, because I'm asking about national party memberships, which Colorado doing extra things doesn't inspire people to join the national party. It might inspire people to give money to the Colorado thing. Like, are we calling the lapsed members each month, like, you know, to ask them why they haven't rejoined national, maybe even back for following a year? Because when it was a priority, we were number 10, and now we're down 35 from Washington is now ahead of us.
Yes.
And there are benefits that we get for this,
Spots on
such
the
as
platform.
delegates and other things.
Yeah.
So this is actively harming. So I'm wondering what the plan is to get us back into the top 10. And the second question, and then I don't have any interruptions. I also had asked the end of October about a newsletter, and I was assured there would be a newsletter actually December 15th, well, 10th. Well, I lost 5 days somewhere. So that was my other question, and I'll shut up.
Sure. So the idea on the national membership there, Karen Ann, is I do fully believe that we need to be able, and I don't, and this is something I disagree with you with. As I have seen in discussions with people that are in the state party and things, and donors and things, I don't necessarily know that there's always going to be a discernible divide between the way that people will view the state and the way people will view national. I think that those images are directly influence one another. So I do believe that by building the state properly, we are going to be able to we're going to be able to nationally. That's what I'm banking on. And then what I am adamantly saying to people is that we need something to be able to sell, and I can't find it. But I'm trying to produce it.
There's just one, I know I said I'd shut up, but I actually do have to add something. I
Yes.
have been nationally the top recruiter of national party membership.
You've done really well, yes.
So I know what I'm saying when I say that the state party really has very little to do with what happens at national. And I recruited 175. I was certainly able to find something to sell to 175.
I have
Well, there was one other question, and then the chair would need to.
Finish your question, Karen Ann.
No, I already asked Matt about the newsletter.
Yep, in the newsletter, that one right there, the idea is going to be on the newsletter is, again, I want to be able something to sell. And I don't know if anybody's been following, there's a discussion about what they're doing with national, about actually how much they're going to be sending the newsletters and things, trying to figure out if it's actually advantageous. And that's something regardless of bylaws, I want everyone to think is we need to make sure that the newsletter is just going out for the sake of a newsletter. It is going out with a purpose where we can make that money back again. Okay, so what I'm hoping to do with this newsletter is get a couple of candidates lined up for what they're doing, sell the candidates, and sell these initiatives in the newsletter. I'm hoping to present these to you. It's kind of why I wanted to hold off, because I really think I've formulated some ideas that we can get behind to grow the party, to offer something to membership that's more than spinning our wheels. So it's taken me a while to formulate these ideas, Karen Ann. It has taken me a while to put this together, but it has come together through my experiences in the campaigns, moving in and around with these things. And I do think that there's going to be a coherent message that comes out of this.
Gotcha. You just know every time that there's certain things that I always ask about.
Absolutely.
The same.
Absolutely.
But you brought up another good point. It doesn't have to do with your report. If the board wishes at any time, if you want to know anything that's going on at National, I can let you know. I think at one point I had asked to have that on a regular part of the agenda, like we used to do a Region 1 report, because you guys can have a National Party officer here, you might as well take advantage of it, but that's an aside. I think Joshua had something.
Anybody have any objections to Joshua speaking? No. Okay, Joshua?
You mentioned that you don't feel like you have anything to bring to people quite yet, but it seems like these people right here, want to come and hear us out to have their issues heard as well. So as you said, if your job is to be membership director and bring people into the state and to the national party, talk to them, find out what their issues are. He obviously agreed on us on one really extreme quote unquote issue that, a lot of people are actually agreeing on. It seems like it's being useful. So let's get with them and talk to the people they're talking to, start building a party and ask them to join the state and national party. And that's one way we can get in our foot into it with another group.
Well, I think you'll like my proposals, Josh.
So, that was just my idea, that we can find people that want to work with us on things and, make, changes, better changes that we can work with. So that was just what I had to say.
Would you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you. My name is Jacob Champion. I just had a point of personal privilege. As I was coming in late, I noticed that there's a brand new Subaru vehicle parked in the handicap spot and its running lights are on. I didn't know if that belonged to anybody.
It's a white Subaru. I saw it as well. I thought that people just got out of the car, but apparently not.
Me coming in, it looks like the lights are still on. I just wanted to warn
Thank you.
people in case it happened to be yours.
You sure?
I'm not in this day and age.
All right, Mr. Psycho.
Nothing to add besides you guys have 3 months to finish your procedures manual. So good luck.
I have a question.
Any objections to Ms. Hurlo speaking again?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Are we considering doing a Minds account?
We could.
Because National, is now curious. Because Facebook, I think, I hope.
It's plateauing.
Yeah, so I just think I would grab the name now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I can put that on.
Because I grabbed National's name 2 years ago, even before they wanted it. And so just thought it, popped in that you might want to grab that.
Yep, I can do that. Do you have any other platforms you'd like to see?
Well, MeWe.
Okay. Those aren't set up. Those aren't set
God,
up,
that
right?
name just makes me embarrassed.
They aren't set up for now though yet, right?
They're set up, no, there's nothing there now.
Okay. Yeah, I can set those up, Karen.
Jacob has his hand up again. Anybody have any objections to Jacob speaking again?
Nope.
Go ahead, Jacob.
I apologize. I know this is my first time here, but I just heard you talk about a procedures manual.
No.
I happen to have stolen the operations manual for the Republican Party in Minnesota. Is there any way that might be useful?
I like him.
Are you a state party member?
I should be.
You're a registered libertarian?
I am.
Do you want to be on the policy? I'm overstepping my bounds here, but I know we need other people. Oh, no, it has to be current or former board members. Unless you guys change that, sorry. I'll rope you into a million committees now that I got my eye on that.
Okay. Anything else?
Question. Is there a template for the procedures manual?
No, I just made it up.
Just copy here.
I just made it up. Yeah.
Change it to regions.
Well, one second. David, didn't you say there was one?
No, there's not. But my theory, I guess, if you want, is that a procedures manual should answer two questions. It should answer the question, what tasks does this board member do? And the second question is, what are the steps to do that task? And that's it.
Just so somebody can take over.
Exactly.
Ms. Harlow?
Plus, you guys reconstituted the policy manual committee, so I'm just curious as to why it's getting hashed out. You have a committee to do that, so.
These are individual procedure.
Just saying.
Not that.
The process, Ms. Harlow, is that we have a committee that is going to bring an overview, and then each individual board member will take that portion of the policy or procedures manual and then tailor it to anything that they believe needs to be changed. Okay, anything else, Mr. Psycho?
No, sir.
Mr. Spalding?
Yes. So in addition to my report, I was at a meeting where they talked about a bond issue that, of course, increased our taxes. But anyway, it passed with only 8,000 votes, and there was no organized opposition to it at all. So just, next election cycle, we need to hit those because we can make a bigger difference there than getting a candidate elected, or than having a candidate campaign. So I did attend about they're working on characteristics of the various people who vote for various parties and how to appeal to those characteristics. And so at some point, that information is available. And then finally, database. I noticed in your report, Dave, about the Civi CRM. So are we going to switch over to that completely?
Yes.
Okay. And then we'll stop having to pay Nation Builder $1,100 a month or whatever a year. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Mr. Cycle?
Yeah. So that's going to keep everything intact, though. We saw these. Okay.
It's a big process. But
is the GUI better? Is that why
it's cheaper? It's free.
Oh.
We used it before and it failed miserably on us, but I assume it's been updated quite a bit.
Well, okay. I'll get to that in my report.
I'll wait for
okay. I've got some stuff to add.
Anything else to add, Mr. Spalding?
I'm done.
Okay. Standing committees, technology, anything for us?
I got nothing, unless you guys have questions.
I'm glad you're here this week,
Yeah.
or this month. Last month, we had a problem with the volume, I guess.
Oh, really?
And but, the picture was beautiful, I guess.
The only question was, as we get closer to, how far away from a convention? 4 months? 4 months? Would be nice if we could live stream it. So however we have to make that happen, I don't know if that's coordinating with the hotel there and what they have there for infrastructure or whatever, but last year Karen Ann just set her, and God bless her, she set her iPhone up. It worked okay, but if we could do something one level above, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can look into that. I mean, I don't have any equipment of my own, so obviously the cameras probably have to be a little better than a webcam, but I mean, if we had to use that, we could easily do that. So.
Good. Well, no, I think a webcam might work just fine. Yeah, that would be great. Something like that. And if it could get tied in from the, I don't know, even if it ties into all the board members who are mic'd, I think that would be enough for it. And then also the one where people come up and speak,
Mr. Abigail?
Definitely looking.
Which portions of the convention did you want to live stream? Because
business, foreign business.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody but you.
Mr. DG, do you have something to add?
No.
Anything else, Mr. Spalding? Okay. Database, what do you have for us?
Okay. In addition to my report, I've got a couple of things. As mentioned, we are planning to go live on the 18th of this month. That will be the website portion. The database is going to take about a week or so to get all the data into the new server. And the reason is it's not as fast, not nearly as fast as Nation Builder. So there will be a little bit of a delay in that process. The nice thing about it is that it's free. There are currently 19 states who are using it. And we'll see how it goes. I do not know at this point whether or not we will need to pay for email services. If we do, we can go to MailChimp, which is $75 a month. So that's pretty much what I have on that. At the Denver meeting, I mentioned to Wayne that I had loaded the Secretary of State file, and that we now have more than 10,000 people who left the LPCO over the last 20 months for some other party. And he asked me to pursue why those people had left. This would be a very expensive task, probably in the neighborhood of at least $5,000 to conduct a survey of all of these people. So I asked our regional rep, Richard Longstreth, if he would look into it. The LNC has essentially said no to this proposal, but I don't know if it came up for a formal vote because the LNC cut the budget by $185,000 to get to a balanced budget. So obviously they were in cutting mood. I did do some analysis and found that 17% of those people left for the Republicans, 18% left for the Democrats, and 62% went to the unaffiliated. During the last 20 months, we gained approximately 14,000 and lost 10,000 for net 4,000. That's a 70% loss. The data file we get from National shows that we've lost about 93% of the people we've had in contact with over the last 20 years or so. So I think these are horrible customer retention numbers, and we should probably try and figure out why we have this much turnover.
Mr. Giddy?
We need to get a sample size. All right, and this is as simple as I can put this. Raise your hand if you're willing to make 100 calls, not guaranteed that all of them are answered, probably a third you'll get through to. You're willing to make 100 calls to the lapsed libertarians to ask them a set of questions about why they left. Raise your hands if you're willing to make 100 calls.
100 calls per day?
Total. Just 100 calls.
Oh, I don't know if I have the time.
That's my problem. I don't have the time.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so there's 400 right there, and if we get through to roughly a third of those, it's going to be about 133. That's not enough for a sample size. I will meet anybody halfway if we're willing to put this together and get more people, but I'm not making 1,000 phone calls. If we want to, if we could use, we could possibly use social media or even just use the stage to ask for some people that are willing to do a phone banking. I'd even be interested. We did it with Nathan Graybow selling some convention tickets where we got together in a room and we had a phone banking. These are things that we can cover with volunteer hours instead of dollars. We need motivated people, and this is where the rubber meets the road.
Mr. Atkin, do we have email addresses for any of those people?
Probably not.
Okay.
I'm guessing, maybe we're lucky to get, I don't know, 5% or something. But some of the people on the Secretary of State's list have phone numbers. How old those phone numbers are, I have no clue. But
Mr. Stipton?
My question, Matt, would be how effective do you think if we put together a SurveyMonkey survey blasted on social media and through the email that we would be able to get a sample size?
There's no way you can guarantee that it's correct in the people that you're trying to reach because you don't have those specific email addresses. You're kind of hoping that those people are the ones that fill out the survey rather than any Tom, Dick, or Harry just trying to get their opinion on.
Ms. Harlos? Anybody have an objection to Ms. Harlos speaking again?
No.
I wanted to answer David's question. Richard did bring it up to the list. There was no co-sponsors in order to get it through, and the general mood was, even if we were not broke, that it would, doing it for one state would just prompt all those states with partisan registration to want the same thing and cause a big internal battle. And as far as nationally, the national party is more concerned with why people are not renewing their national memberships, and the state level concerns need to be handled by the state affiliates. That's basically the substance of the discussion.
Okay.
Mr. Avondale?
Further to the Survey Monkey thing, this would be actually a fairly effective way to reach quite a number of people in order to get a take on what people think and to get a good sample size of direction that maybe we need to take. If we can ask some specific questions and post it in specific Facebook groups that are libertarian, meaning we might be able to garner some insight as to what we're doing well and what we're not, direction we need to head in, which.
Mr. Ecken?
It sounds like that the social media groups are going to be reaching people who are favorable to the Libertarian Party, and I think that the group we're trying to reach are those who have left, and so there's a disconnect there. My idea for reaching out to them would be to send these specific people, these 10,000 we have, a postcard saying go to URL whatever to take the survey, if they're, would do that, which of course costs money to send a postcard.
How many people did we lose in the last 12 months, David?
Last 4 months, I don't know, but over the last 20 months, it's about 10,000.
10,000 in 20 months.
Yeah.
We gained 14,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, we're at a net gain still, but the reason I ask is because the people that left the most recently would have the best memory as to what their reasons for changing. And even if we just sent out to the people that left in the last 6 months, I mean, we could do a reasonably good sample size there. Mr. Eck?
The previous tape that I loaded was, I believe, June of this year. So June through November, that's 5 months, and we lost about 5,000.
Isn't there an I Hate the Libertarian Party Facebook page or something along
Americans
those lines?
Against the Libertarian Party.
It's the same three people with 20 accounts, John.
The Russians.
Add to the
Mr. DG?
Now, and one thing I stress, and I think even if we get something going with calls and taking our samples and things like that, I think in Colorado specifically, what you are going to find is a fair number of those people left because as an unaffiliated, you can still participate in the open primaries as long as you just send in the one ballot. And I think that is something that on the front you wouldn't think about, but on the back end really did screw us a bit.
And do we have any idea what the churn rate is for the Dems and the reps? Well, downward, but I just wonder.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know whether this is important or not.
Yeah. Well, there's only elections.
Okay.
So anyway, that's my report.
Thank you, David. Okay, we have several committees here that I wanted to follow up. We have the committee to reach out to the local groups. Where do we stand on that one?
So on that one, I think that that my proposal regarding the regional reps is directly in relation to that. So I'd either motion that we pull that up from new business or we move this down into that new business because I think that's the most pertinent thing to discuss.
Anybody have any objections to moving this down to the new business? Okay. Legislative Committee.
We are in the process of getting our first meeting scheduled, which should be done probably by the end of this week.
Okay. Nothing else?
That's it for right now.
Okay. Campaigns Committee.
Yes, we had our first meeting on Sunday, the 18th of November, and we elected some officers. I got stuck with chair. If anybody would like to come this month and challenge me for that, please do so. Josh was elected vice chair and Lance is our secretary. We're looking for regional representatives from each of the groups, each of the affiliates to have a representative attend the meetings, because we really want to farm out some of the jobs. Excuse me, my voice is going. So we have some volunteers for Northeast and Weld. We have voluntold Matt. Jeffco is Thomas here. Adams County, Ken Biles is going to be our representative. For Boulder, we were thinking somebody might step up aside from Lance because he has secretarial duties on that. Eric for Arapahoe, he volunteered. And Douglas County, we were looking at either you or...
That is now being taken over by Michael Lopez.
Michael Lopez,
Yes.
okay.
So if you'd reach out to him and see if you can make your meeting on Sunday.
Okay.
If he can't,
Do you have his
just
email
let
or
me
not?
know.
I do not have.
I will email you right now.
Okay, lovely. So we had a very good discussion, and we have a number of projects in the works as far as gathering together all of the candidacies for local elections that we want to push Libertarian candidates towards, because our first step of getting statewide elections is to have local elections won. So our next meeting is December 16th. We're hoping to have a Zoom account, which hopefully Karen Ann.
I already set it all up.
Oh, Lance has already set up. That's great.
It's in the,
So-
if you go to the Facebook events.
So if you're going to Facebook, it's in the events there. And if you don't know what it is or where to find it, then just contact me on Facebook and I'll share it out. So that's.
If Kim, if Mike Lopez can't make it for Douglas, just let me know and I'll try to make it.
Okay. Thank you. It's online, so, you know, you don't have to go anywhere.
Mr. Gallant?
And you know that we have a meeting next Thursday. Okay.
Mr. Stevenson?
You may want to reach out to Mr. Pickerel and see if he'd be interested in being your Southern Colorado representative.
Yes.
He will be attending a summit in Omaha this weekend with Laura Ebke, some of the candidates from Indiana. I was invited to attend. Some of the ones who got percentages around 5% and higher, people who actively work campaigns and stuff. They're going to be doing a summit in Omaha this coming weekend to kind of make it. It was headed up by Laura Ebke to try to make a determination on where we go with campaigns from here, what approach we take, and they just kind of want to get it all the people who ran active campaigns in a room together and kind of hash it out.
Follow up to that, would John be willing to come to the January meeting and give a report on that?
Sure, I'm sure he would if he had enough notice and stuff, so.
Okay, fabulous. I'll send him an email and get him in touch with that.
Okay. For Policy Manual Committee? Mike, you're on that one, aren't you?
Nope.
No,
John is the.
John is. Okay.
John the boss.
Have you guys started?
Posting it to me. We briefly talked, Richard and I, because Richard Longstress on it, we got so busy with the LNC meeting that we're going to be regrouping this week to set up a meeting. He found all the documents, we've uploaded them into the drive, and we've been talking. And we need to rope some more people into it though, so like I'm sure someone here is itching to be on a committee.
I'm already on the one.
Has to do current or former board members.
Mr. Ackett?
I'd like to volunteer for the Policies and Procedures Committee.
You're sick.
Beautiful.
Is he a former
Database
board
and
member?
policy and procedures.
Is he a former board member?
Yes, I was state chair for 4 years, so yeah, I'm a former board member.
Yeah, he qualifies.
Raven Dave.
All right, very good. Next one we have is our bylaw mandated committees. That would be the convention committee.
I don't think I have anything to add to my report. I'm feeling pretty confident about where we are, especially because I had a chance to speak with Chris Peacock today to smooth out some details with him. The only thing that's rough right now is I can't get guarantees from some of the candidates who might have potentially been able to take down our costs by being speakers. So we're going to be in search. So we're in search for a big keynote speaker still at this point in time, even though we have our activist training down with Robin Corner.
Question for the convention committee. How soon will we be getting a link on the website to purchase tickets?
I'm glad you asked that. So we have something new where they're going with the new CRM program, and all the sales can be done through National. I've been emailing Andy Burns. I want to talk to him on the phone because I don't think he can mellow my concerns with emails, because I really worried about making sure that the money ends up where it needs to end up with us, and making sure that we don't have to do the Magento site. It's one of those things I need to talk to the guy now to set myself at ease, because if there's anything that keeps me up at night, it's the money. So it should be going, if everything works, they should be able to functionally do it through National the same way that we've done it previously with the different price tiers, ad hocs, and everything else. It's just like we need to make sure everything, we have to have employment information over a certain dollar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I got to talk to Andy. He can't set me at ease on an email at this point.
Ms. Harlows?
Sorry, because of the poll on it, well, anyway. You mentioned a report. Where can I see that report?
It is in the Google Drive.
I can't get to that.
Oh, you can't? Okay.
Can you forward it to the list to everybody, and then outsiders could see?
Sure.
Is there, and since I haven't seen it, there might be questions I'm asking you that's in it. Is there a proposed business agenda yet?
No, I was actually the business there now.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, well then that answers the rest of my questions, because I'll just take care of it.
Okay. Question I have, before you met on the, along with the convention committee obligations, we have, we sent out applications for the
we didn't get any
CMB committees and for the
Cameraman and CBEC.
Say, yeah, let me look real quick, show you. I think that's all it was.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we might want to send out a quick shot on the state Facebook group.
We have to make a decision tonight. We have to appoint our members tonight. Now, the only people that we don't have to appoint, obviously, are the people that are appointed by the county affiliates. And you have a list of all the county affiliates and who they've appointed?
I have the affiliates that have sent me.
Can you give us an overview on who they are?
So Douglas County appointed Karen Ann Harlows to both the bylaws and the platform. And then El Paso, or not El Paso, Arapahoe as, oops, sorry, wrong thing. Arapahoe. Arapahoe for Cap Martin for the Platform Committee, and Andrea Sanborn for the Constitution and Bylaws Committee. And have you heard from the other affiliates when you reached out to them? No. El Paso, Mike Seebeck. Okay, well that's a shame because he actually put in an application, so it'd be nice to get a second one.
Ms. Harlows?
I was talking with Wayne earlier about this. You can't force people to want to be on committees. So the bylaws really don't say what to do if there isn't 5 people who've applied. So I think the only reasonable way to understand it, because we're up against a deadline, you already moved the convention, so these dates were already all planned out, is that unless there's people volunteering that are in the room or on the board, you just appoint from what you have and treat it as up to 5. You have enough people to have a meaningful committee. So out of the applications, it sounds like, didn't Clayton apply?
I didn't get one from Clayton.
He told me he did.
Clayton did. Yep, that's what I got one right here.
I didn't get that one from you.
Forwarded.
Did you? So just accept all the applications?
So Clayton, Who's Clayton from?
Mr. Roberts,
I was,
Isn't he Douglas County?
are you still?
I'm still,
I'll forward it again. Thank you.
so who, just, because I'm just trying to help you, who do you have now who applied for the platform?
So, apparently at this point in time, you, Mike,
Well, I've already been appointed through
Yep.
Douglas, so who's not already on it that has applied?
Clayton,
And that's it.
So right now, that's your only option. What I would suggest, I'm not trying to take over your meeting, is if you ask if there is anyone else who wants to be considered for platform, and you appoint up to 5, and you need to appoint a chair, and do the same. Now with bylaws, how many do you have that aren't already on bylaws?
Same.
Clayton put for bylaws?
Oh, hang
He
on.
usually doesn't.
And let's just, real quick, Michelle Pogue has said that even though she hasn't put in her application, we can get that real quick, that she will do both. So that was one more to add, to our list right there. Josh, I saw your hand up. Would you like to do that again? Is that okay? Sorry.
Was in the applications, was there anyone else for bylaws?
Nope, no.
That was it. Josh, you had something?
I'm volunteering for bylaws.
Okay. Guys, I think in the future, we need to be very, very cognizant. If we're not getting many people that are stepping up, then we need to send out another notification, not just one. So we have some openings both on Constitution, bylaws, as well as the Platform Committee.
Style
Committees.
We're done, stop, no. So what, I'm sorry, what did you say?
We have some openings to be filled.
You need to do platform and bylaws.
Platform and Constitution and bylaws.
Right.
Yeah.
Style committee's filled, that's done.
Right.
And you need to appoint chairs for both committees.
So, it's out there, the board here that wants to be on the Platform Committee. One at a time, please. I'll throw my hat in for that.
For what?
Anybody else? That gives us how many total now, Matt? You're adding those up?
For Constitution and bylaws?
No, for platform.
For platform, so that would be you, Seebeck, Karen Ann, and Clayton.
Michelle.
And Michelle. So we're 5.
So that's 5.
That's, your 5 is 5 outside of the people.
Right.
So what you have right now that aren't already appointed by affiliates is Wayne, Michelle, and Clayton. So you can appoint up to 2 more, but if not, the world doesn't end.
Anything else for platform? Okay, would you make a list of those people?
And Cat Martin too, that was Arapahoe's appointment.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Constitution and bylaws.
Mr. Chair, I would suggest before you move on to bylaws that you appoint the chair of platform out of, now that you know who your universe of people is. It's the board's responsibility to appoint a platform committee chair.
Thank you.
And I'll just note that I am interested.
Okay. Anybody here have anybody that they would like to nominate, if you will?
Who are the people that we're choosing from?
What's that? So you have Mike Seebeck, Cat Martin, Wayne Harlos, Karen Ann Harlos, Michelle Pogue. And I'm just jotting, and Clayton. What's Clayton's last name?
Casciano.
Clayton.
Can we nominate people can we volunteer, tell them
Yeah.
that they're going to be chair?
I know
If they don't accept, then we've lost, we haven't gone anywhere with it, so I don't see any reason to do
So
that.
people who aren't here like Michelle, no way.
Well, she's already
Well, no,
thrown her hat in and said she wanted to be involved.
You can.
Chair,
Oh,
Yeah.
for chair.
that's what you're asking about, right?
Yeah, so I nominate Michelle Pogue for chair.
Second.
I nominate
Just
Karen Ann Hollis.
Okay.
So, oh, I can't.
Anybody else?
I appreciate
Any other
it.
ideas? Well, I guess we have to vote for that then. We'll start with those who would like to have Michelle Pogue as the chair of the please.
Is this approval voting?
Of course.
Yes, Libertarian.
At this time.
Approval vote?
Is it approval?
It's not approval.
Oh, it's not.
There's only two.
So who do we have here? We have 6. Karen Ann? Okay. Michelle Pogue will be the platform committee chair. Now on Constitution and bylaws, Matt, would you read off the people that we have?
Let's see here. So again, we're going to have, let's see here. Again, we'll have Mike Seebeck, again, I'm sorry, Andrea Sanborn from Arapahoe, Karen Ann Harlos from Douglas, Michelle again, volunteered in Clayton. Did you want to be on that one too, Lance? Bylaws.
Do I? Just platform.
Just platform. So that's what we have right now.
And
Oh, and Josh. Thank you, Josh.
Mr. Stapleton?
I'd like to volunteer for bylaws and constitution committee.
Okay. That gives us a total of how many now, Matt?
7.
Let's see here. So I have Stapleton, Robertson, Harlos, Seebeck, Andrea from Arapahoe, Michelle Pogue. Did I miss anyone?
Okay.
They said that first.
Yep.
So we need nominations for a chair of the Constitution and bylaws committee.
Just to let the board know, Mike Seebeck, I know is interested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you did express that.
Mr. Spalding?
I would like to nominate Mike Seebeck for chair.
Second.
Anybody else? Okay. Looks like we don't have to take a vote. There's only one person that's been nominated. Okay, those are in place. All right, down to new business now. Mr. Matthews, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor. If you would keep it to 10 minutes, please give us your presentation and how you would like for us to help.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Where would you like me to stand? Right here, okay?
How about over here where we can all see?
Is
Well,
it
on the
gonna be
corner there,
within
that's
the
fine,
camera?
too. Yeah, right there's.
Right here's fine.
Right
Right
here.
here. Thank you. That's good. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, esteemed guests, thank you very much for providing the opportunity for me to speak in front of you all tonight. It's been a pleasure to witness Robert's Rules of Order in action. It's been something I haven't quite been able to see in person, so I really appreciate this, and it's great. My name is Kevin Matthews. I am the campaign director of Decriminalize Denver, and we are currently collecting signatures for the Denver Psilocybin Initiative. And by show of hands, so I can get a better sense of my audience here, how many present are familiar with the clinical benefits of magic mushrooms? Awesome. Thank you. And maybe going out on a limb, how many by show of hands have a personal positive experience with the benefits of magic mushrooms?
This is public record.
Anybody? Thank you. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So thank you for your time. So we are working, right now we have a committee of 15 individuals and a volunteer group of approximately 70 volunteers right now are working to collect signatures in the city and county of Denver to decriminalize the personal possession and personal use of psilocybin mushrooms in the city and county of Denver. Psilocybin, it's a hard word. Psilocybin is the active ingredient in what's commonly referred to as magic mushrooms. And I'm sure as many of you know, magic mushrooms are a naturally occurring psychedelic fungi that grows in nature. And from the last 10 years or so, there has been a lot of research indicating the clinical benefit of magic mushrooms. And given that research and the overwhelming public support for that research, our campaign and our committee has decided to, for the last year, work to actually decriminalize use in Denver. And so I want to take just a minute here to talk about our campaign, and then I would love, if that's okay, to open it up to questions from individuals who are present, if you have them. So we've been working for, well, first of all, a little bit about myself. I'm a former West Point cadet. I attended the U.S. Military Academy from 2005 to 2008, and I left the military academy because of major depression and received an honorable discharge and actual medical retirement from the U.S. Army. And I spent about 10 years of my life working to get into the academy, and then I was there for 3 years. And so when I left, it was a shock because my entire culture and worldview crumbled. And it was at that point where I had to kind of figure out, who am I? What am I doing with my life? I still had a deep interest in cognitive liberty and personal autonomy, and didn't quite know what I was doing with my life. And then I landed in a community in Denver that introduced me to magic mushrooms, along with a lot of other methods and modalities that gave me more freedom, allowed me to see outside the box that depression had created for myself. And kind of fast forward about 7 years today, this campaign. I do want to say that I'm joined tonight by Cindy Sovine, who is one of our policy advisors and Speakers Bureau advisors. And we have an amazing team who is working to decriminalize mushrooms. And so the focus of our campaign is to keep individuals out of prison, keep families together, allow people to essentially utilize a naturally occurring substance for their own benefit, whether it's for therapeutic or recreational use, and contribute to this new paradigm that's occurring right now with the psychedelic renaissance. I'm sure it seems many of you know, you've seen some of the research with magic mushrooms. There is a psychedelic renaissance occurring right now, given the clinical research over the last 10 to 15 years, looking at mushrooms, looking at MDMA with the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies. It's a mouthful, MAPS. And so with our campaign, we really represent the vanguard of the citizen-initiated, citizen-led movement to decriminalize the possession of magic mushrooms. And with our campaign, it's 3 different things. So we're decriminalizing personal possession and personal use. And under personal possession, that also includes propagation or cultivation at home of magic mushrooms, and there are no limits there. Cool. And then the way we're doing that is we're utilizing legislation from cannabis from the last decade, in diverse language with Initiative 300 in 2007. And in that language, and it's a pretty common thread with decriminalization efforts for drug policy, is where you say that a substance should be given the lowest law enforcement priority. And so with our language, the personal possession and personal use of psilocybin mushrooms will be a lowest law enforcement priority. And then we went a step further and utilized language from, Cindy, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but it was national hemp legislation, where it actually restricted the Justice Department from using any funds to prosecute hemp. And so in Denver, we're preventing the city and county of Denver from using any resources or funds to prosecute individuals who happen to be arrested within the city for the personal use or personal possession of psilocybin mushrooms. And then the third part here is we want to work with the city. Denver has shown a strong history of drug policy reform, and we believe that it's going to have a substantial benefit and a substantial contribution to solve many of the problems that not only Denver and Colorado, but our country at large is facing in terms of opiate abuse and mental health problems, that psilocybin could be a benefit for that. So we want to use, we want to work with the city, and essentially the third part of the language is the psilocybin mushroom policy review panel, where we'll be sitting down with members of city council, city attorneys, public health professionals, and law enforcement, and members who were chosen by the petitioners of our campaign to form this committee and essentially examine the impact of decriminalization of psilocybin in Denver. And so with this, as I said before, we are right now the main representatives of this movement nationwide, and it is gaining steam. And so we have our movement here in Denver. We fully intend to move this beyond just Denver and look at other municipalities in Colorado and nationwide. You may be aware that Oregon is another state, and they are right now working towards a decriminalization model and a regulatory medical model that's going to be statewide for 2020. And so this is a movement that's gaining a lot of steam. There's a lot of, from what I'm seeing, a lot of public support for this. And it would be an absolute pleasure to have this conversation and explore how the Libertarian Party and our campaign can work moving forward. And I'd like to open it up to questions.
Okay, we have 15 seconds. Do we have a motion to extend for question and answers?
Motion.
How long?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Second.
Second. Any objections? All right. Ms. Harlow, go ahead.
How do you, I agree that we would think Denver would have a more progressive attitude, but then they just banned kratom, so I don't care. So do you find that maybe a little bit of a dampening on the hopes? Because kratom is very beneficial as well.
I agree. So we're basing our campaign off of scientific polling that we had done this summer. And this polling was conducted over landline telephone, and that indicated that 45% of voters in Denver actually support the decriminalization of psilocybin. And then in addition to that, looking at how the Denver City Council just approved a trial basis for opiate safe injection sites. And so just that's what we're looking at in terms of Denver, the Denver population being in support of this right now. The statistics seem to be pretty clear, in addition to Denver's move to have that trial for opiates. Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is Cindy. I just wanted to add to your point on the decriminalization side. So I'm with you. I'm like not a huge Denver supporter in how they implement most policies. And that was one of the reasons why I got involved in the language, and one of the reasons why you see that there is no limit on cultivation or possession or anything, so that we didn't give an entry point into law enforcement for any reason. Once you start creating limits, you start creating entry points and reasons for them to get involved, and now they have to have more staff to be able to make sure that it's over this limit or that, and it ultimately ends in some trigger point. And so we worked really hard to keep them out in just the way that the language was written to begin with for that reason.
Mr. Spaulding?
So you referred to Mason, and Frank and I worked with him, and the Libertarian Party put support behind the Amendment 64 that eventually resulted, but started in Denver, just like you're doing. So that worked really well. What would you like in support from the Libertarian Party at this time? You want a press release, $10,000? I mean,
Yes.
$100,000. Right now, what we're looking for specifically is support in media. A press release would go a long way.
Okay.
I'm actually friends with Joey Gallagher, who, from what I understand, is your new social media.
He's a volunteer, yep.
He's a volunteer.
We've given him 2 slots, yep.
So social media collaboration and the press release would be amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to move that we, the State Libertarian Party, support this movement via press release and social media post.
Second.
Who's third?
Okay, I will restate, and Matt, once I state, then we can get into debate on it, okay? The motion that has been presented is to have the Libertarian Party of Colorado provide a press release and social media support for the support of the decriminalized Denver movement on Sicilian magic mushrooms.
Magic mushrooms.
Magic mushrooms. We'll keep it simple. Okay. We have any discussion on this?
That's right down our alley, isn't it?
It is. Any objections? Passes unanimously. You have our support.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for coming.
Who's doing the
Are there any Denver registered voters here tonight? We have a petition if there are and you're interested.
We're from all over the place. David and
I am. Also,
you guys both are? Okay.
Come on, Raven Dave. Right up.
As soon as we wrap it up, then you can get your signatures.
So the only thing I would add is I'm going to work with David to get an email blast out on the 15th. That's when our second one is, right? Yep. So that's on my little agenda I have for myself. And then I'll work on a press release for you. And I think it'll be eerily similar to the Green Party because they already kind of did one. We'll just make it Libertarian.
They did.
And then I think we have a good enough in with Westward. And I think we can get published in Westward.
Awesome.
So
I mean, I have some resources that I can share with Westward and Rooster if you want it.
Yeah, I'll send you a draft first. We can work it out. But
thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, next one we have on the new business, merchandise purchase, and this is Mr. Psycho. What do you want to do here?
Wayne thinks I want to purchase merchandise. That's not what I want to do. So I brought this up to my affiliate in Boulder County, and the treasurer hated it. And so it's more, my question comes at the, Bill hated it because he said, if we were to start selling merch, so it just says Libertarian Party Colorado, just a t-shirt or a hat or something like that.
Right.
At every transaction, just the accounting gets so out of control. Is that true or not? So is it worth it for us to try to have a
Depends on
shop?
how lazy you are.
You have to count it as a donation.
Yeah.
Right. So that's fine.
But then you have to track, like, so if I set up a shop on our Facebook page and pushed out merchandise to try to raise money, the problem is that whoever purchases something, let's say I do a third party, Teespring or something like that. That's easy. That's an easy one. They have to say like who their occupation is, like all of this criteria, right?
Only if
And
it's
that's
over $100 though.
Is that okay?
No, it's over 20.
Yeah, it's an over 20.
No, 20 is the name and 100 is, well, I mean, John is our expert here, but it's the occupation.
20 is the name. Okay, so we can go up
Name
to
and address.
right. So exactly, and we could get that if obviously it's shipped out through this third party. It would just be on me to do that, to make sure that I get that information to you, so we're following protocol. Okay, so just any purchase up to $100 is okay. Just name, address, no employer.
Right. Don't sell anything for over $100.
What's that?
Don't sell anything for over $100.
Yeah, but what if they purchase 3 things? you know, like a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, and a hat.
As long as it's under 100.
Just
Buy 3
ask
things,
them.
$99.95.
What's that?
Just ask them.
Okay.
When you get
Run it by 3
employers,
special.
just their employer, that's easy. But occupation, there's this Secretary of State's list, and it has to be one of those. So basically, what I usually do when I'm asking somebody is, here's the list, which one fits you.
Mr. DG?
I'll let Kim go ahead. She can go first.
So I know on PayPal, I have a if-then kind of a conditional, whatchamacallit, built into the back end. So if, you know, somebody is from a certain place or a certain amount or whatever, you can set these conditions. Does your thingy have that?
I don't know.
Okay, because that is something that a lot of back-end people build into the shops, e-commerce agreements, that is something that it could be worked around.
Okay.
So that if total equals, you know, greater than 99.99, then insert this into form, and it can be the drop-down list in the employer's name. So that is something that could be built in.
Mr. DG?
If we kept Magento, I could actually do that. I mean, because it's basically a templated off of the way that we've done convention tickets, because we have to have all that information in there. So if we end up that route, we could do that. What I'm curious about, and there's these, and I worry, John, because, you know, as you know, there's so many of these, you know, legal things you don't want to cross, but because the problem with a lot of this is actually carrying inventory and then handling the shipping and all that stuff. And what I'm curious is if it fits within the legalities of how everything works, if we could get someone like do you know Kieran Osei? He does the Mad Statist. He had a table down at National. He does some great work. And I'm wondering if we can get someone like him to design it on a cut base, and then it sells out of his shop. And we own,
I would want to use Teespring, and we don't have to hold an inventory. They print on demand.
Yeah,
So
Teespring, Cafe Press does it. There's a couple
Teespring is
of
great.
companies.
That's what I've been using for on my other site.
Lance, may I recommend that you gather all the information for us. Is this something you want the state party's help on, or you're just gathering information for the Boulder County?
Nope, I was gonna bring a motion forth and do it. Get approval to set up a shop on the Facebook page, working with the treasurer.
Okay. We have a couple
I
questions.
just wrote
Mr.
down
Hirschman?
that motion.
I believe if the payment goes through our website, I think that's already going to be set up just like the old one was, where at the $100 it triggers occupation and employer with the new website.
But you don't want to do payment through the website because Teespring does the payment
Yeah,
themselves.
because then it's instant printing. So
Just do it through Teespring and don't sell anything for over 100.
well, I would have to work with the treasurer and be on that website, and so it would get linked to our bank account, the LP's bank account, so you could keep track of it that way. But I didn't want to be so burdensome. I didn't know if it was grumpy old Bill, Boulder County. And it is proving it. So if John's not grumpy, happy to work with John.
Well,
John's never gone.
I love
Buy you beer.
Mr. Robertson, do you have something you want to add?
Yeah, I actually, I'd like to work with you on that, Lance. I had some ideas, some short ideas for the state party that I wanted to get donations made for the party when they get sold too, so.
Yeah, and that way, like even when we get to the state convention, we don't have to have anything. We just say, you know, here's a screen, here's what we're selling, and people can support it that way. I think it would even if it gets a couple $100, it's good enough, you know.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I work with the treasurer to set up shop.
Second.
And just to clarify, so the shop specifically for Boulder, or would other?
No, just the state party. It would just be at the state level. We don't go down to the
Boulder's too
affiliates.
cranky.
Yeah, they're too cranky.
Okay.
This is discussion.
So we have a motion to set up merchandise account for the state party that will be worked on by the communications director and the treasurer. Is that what you wanted to say?
Yep.
Okay. John?
Kind of a question. In CVCRM, they have the one that my county's using, they have a category for stuff that you give to people for donation called premiums, not merchandise. Now, I don't know if that's a difference. It might be something to consider before we get too far into it, whether you want to call it merchandise or premiums. And why that, I never looked it up, but I thought I should bring it up.
Okay, you can gather that information for us by next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion on this one? All right, any objections? Passes unanimously. All right, well,
Thanks,
Lance.
Cool, that's a good idea.
Next one we have is board reports again. Guys, I bring this up every meeting. We're putting David out on a limb here by not getting our reports to him in time. And I understand sometimes things get in the way and it can't be avoided, but do whatever you can to get your board reports up. And that includes committee reports up by the Wednesday before, so we have a chance to read them. Matt, I didn't see yours before I left home. And by the time I got here, when I turned my computer on, I saw it was there and I didn't have a chance to read it. So when you said you had nothing to add, I didn't know you had nothing to add to.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I think it's, I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on everybody. Do your best to get your reports done in a timely manner. That just makes it life easier a lot for everybody. How many of you guys are reading all the board reports before you show up on Monday night? You should. There could be questions that you're going to have of those directors. All right. Policy and procedures we've already gone over. Guess the next thing we have is Matt had some items that he wanted to bring up. Go ahead, Matt.
All right. Well, I guess I have a collection of some ideas that I think will help encourage growth, encourage investment in the party. The first one that I have that I'd like to propose, and if you guys check your email, I sent all of these guys. First one is a youth outreach committee. Purpose is to stimulate party growth with individuals under 30 with dedicated outreach and issues related involvement, which will appeal to younger voters. I'd like this committee to be 4 people, all under the age of 30, with 1 board member to take part, making 5. Desired members, those will be willing to attend monthly meetings, will actively work outreach booths recommended by the committee, and who will otherwise find opportunities to engage young voters and bring them into the LPCO. I think it's very important that we get people that are willing to find the opportunities and then go work them, because it's so much to ask for Kevin to take the schedule and run around like he does. The potential positive outcome is you'll get more youth involvement, greater urban interaction, I believe, in young legs for door knocking campaigns, as well as fresh ideas. It's a really simple proposal, and I have a few people in mind that I've worked with already. I would board to go ahead to start to make this happen, and to see if anybody would like to tackle this along with me, if it sounds appealing to them.
You been in contact with Kevin about this?
Yeah, we've talked to, Kevin will be working with me on this as well, but it's one of those things I'd love to see some people get involved as far as how we entice the youth. Like Mr. Meme Champion over here seems to have a good tie into the younger minds.
Well, this is Kevin's wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we can't really speak for Kevin.
Yes.
I think it's a wonderful idea, but with Kevin's absence, I don't think we can move forward on this. Does Kevin do?
Why, just a question, why only 4 members of the committee?
4 youth and 1 board member to make a committee, but just to kind of keep things simple. If you think remember, this is just a proposal. If you think we need to add additional members, please, by all means, let's make this thing even more functional. I'm all about that.
Just was curious to the rationale of why only 4.
Small and smooth.
Okay.
So I think we're gonna have to table this until next month.
Okay.
Put it on the agenda next month. Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. The next one I've got here is for regional reps, and this is something that I was thinking with the reaching out to local groups and how we go about this. And I think that the proposal here, I think it's a good way to go about this, is to find representatives for each of the 11 regions to help coordinate with development groups and affiliates on best course of action to bring together resources for electoral success and to work together when issues of importance to libertarians come up within their region. Duties to be expected would be to submit a monthly board report. They'd be expected to organize regional meetings on a biannual basis. They will be expected to work directly with the campaign committee regional representative. They will be responsible for asking for resources from the Libertarian Party of Colorado when an opportunity for a candidate or a ballot victory shows itself. And they will work directly with the region's director into developing the counties into active affiliates. The first appointments, I believe, need to be done through the boards. Future appointments may be conducted through elections at the first regional meeting at the discretion of the meeting's credentialed Libertarian attendees.
Well, this would be Kim's wheelhouse and Steve's wheelhouse. Have you been in contact with Kim and Steve about this?
I sent Steve over an email. Did you?
And
also Montoni, because he's involved in this as well.
And I think, and this has been talked about for a long time, and I thought like initially the idea might be of having, 4 quadrants, and just having the 4 reps, and then they can hopefully raise, to where we get to 11.
I think Michigan does it like that kind of.
Yeah, and then that way, just because I'm not sure if we start with, so,
Yes.
maybe 4 and then move on to that. But I think it would be a good idea.
Is this something you're willing to take on, Steve?
I'm willing to help with it.
Yeah.
You'd have to run with this. You're the region's director.
Right.
So.
But these are also people, they won't specifically, so as I understand it, you're talking about beyond just organizing affiliates within that region. You're talking about candidates and all the other issues.
Yeah, they're basically going to be a go-between, because I think there's such a broad, so much room in between you and then the affiliates, and having someone there in the middle is going to make life easier for everybody involved. And ultimately what I would like to see happen is cohesion with the regions and at conventions to start seating the regions together much the way that we seat ourselves by states at national.
How about you, Kim? This is something that's going to obligate you as well.
So Matt and I had been talking quite a bit about how to connect the Libertarian Party to other organizations, other groups, and especially those that aren't right in the middle of Denver. And so this is something that is definitely a great way to foster those connections, to make sure that we have people hitting the local Kiwanis or other liberty-leaning kind of groups to foster and find good candidates for us. So this is definitely something that I'm behind.
Okay. So Steve, it looks like the job to find the 11 regional reps, or start with 4 and then expand out as you can. That's something that's in your wheelhouse. Lance, do we have any volunteers that might be able to jump in with Steve and help him with this?
None that come to mind. I mean, we need to recruit some more, Nobody right offhand though.
We can put that out in the email blast for that David's going to send.
That would be good.
To put out a request for reps.
Okay. Would you put together an email that Dave could send out?
And David, when do you need that by again? The 12th or the 15th?
I'd like to have it by the 12th or 13th.
3 days before. Okay.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking is I'm assuming that these could be people wearing 2 hats. They could be the chair of an affiliate and the regional rep.
Yes.
Because otherwise. But now, I don't know if is this something where it makes sense for us to form a committee, or could we do this through the local groups? Are you in the local groups? You're not in that one. And rather than, I don't know if we'd just be getting redundant to create a new committee, or do we just try to work on this through the local group?
I think we just as the board, the people that are involved in that should just reach out and try to find those people and get that and try to work into getting them up to speed and delegated as soon as possible.
Right.
A question to that for Lance. The Zoom account that we have set up could also be utilized, I'm guessing, to reach out and talk to people and all over the state. So that's a really great way, I think, to get people on board. They don't have to physically be somewhere, they can comb their hair and wear their pajamas on the bottom. Okay,
so you guys want to form a group and then you do a phone conference or whatever and put some ideas together and get this ball rolling. This is something that was started by, something similar to this was started by David Lutz, or Daniel Lutz. And he ran out of steam and ran into some personal issues that had that made him have to step down before he actually got it up and running. But I know that we have a list of county contacts. Those would be the people to start with first, in all the different counties.
Right.
A lot of those people were put in there. They really didn't have an interest in being involved, but they were somebody that we could have on there in case somebody wanted to meet for coffee and wanted to talk about libertarian stuff in Dolores County or wherever.
Right.
But I think that'd probably be the best place to start.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Next one. As I propose that we start an annual fundraising dinner in August of each year. I loosely propose it to be named like the Brown Memorial Banquet. I think the convention is cool. It's great to get people together, but I think if we can get one more big event going to potentially raise some funds, get a speaker in for a one night only kind of thing, it could be very advantageous to the party. So that's something I would really like us to consider, and it's something that we can, get going on pretty quickly.
Okay, well, this is something that would be in the fundraising director's job description. We don't have a fundraiser right now, but we have plenty of time. Hopefully we'll have a fundraiser here well before convention. And the idea, originally we were going to do a golf tournament or a sporting clay shoot or something like that, and that never materialized.
Yeah.
Why, I don't know, but it never materialized. And but I think we do need to do something in the summertime to give us an opportunity to get together with people. Lance?
Do we need to restart the search for the fundraiser again? Because, we had a good couple weeks of trying, but
yeah, I think you got to run it about every 3-4 days. Yeah. Until we find somebody.
Everybody who inquired asked who was paid. It's just
Mr. Stapleton?
I like this idea. I think this getting something, an annual dinner, fundraising dinner. I don't like to say I like to be like the other parties, but the GOP with their annual Lincoln Day dinner, the Democrats with their Jefferson Jackson dinner, although they don't call it anymore. Those are their big punches through usually off election cycles for fundraising. And the local county of parties scatter them out throughout the year, but to me this makes sense. It's forward and get something going, and especially if we can get it where we can manage to get it on the calendar each year, continually roll it over, and it creates an opportunity outside the business of the party.
And I think it has broader appeal than a golf tournament or a ski trip.
Yeah,
as fun as those are, they're narrow.
With this dinner, I would like to include door prize drawings and whatnot to go along with it, silent auction.
Because of the time of year, we could almost do it on a weekend afternoon and do a barbecue or something like that. And then we could have some outdoor activities for the kids and things like that. Mr. Spalding?
That's what I was just going to bring up. I participated in Another Life with some Republican ones, and they do them outdoors. They have a big shrimp boil or barbecue, and they have a speaker, and they raise a ton of money. There's one that they raised 10 one of them, so works well.
There's only one problem with the outdoor things: people can escape.
Yeah, that's
It's nice if you can shut a door.
Doors, yeah.
Well, because if you actually have to get up, I went to a Michael Cloud fundraiser, and if you actually have to stand up and walk out in front of everybody and show that you're not going to do it,
you get a bracelet that you have to get food.
The other question I had on this was that the fundraising dinner, wasn't that a $500 plate type? Or am I confusing that with something else?
I think
Nothing that we've done.
Yeah.
No, in Matt's email, there was something about a $500.
No, there's, no,
Oh, okay,
that's
then-
net donations, no.
Okay,
No.
different thing.
No, totally different, yeah.
Okay.
Jacob, you had something you wanted to add?
Yes, please. If we're talking about the logistics of actually collecting the money, I can assist with that.
I think we found another volunteer. Make sure you get his information.
Fundraising director? Collecting money?
Fundraising director.
That's what I heard.
That's what I said.
Collecting money, that's just fundraising.
No, I don't have.
So we need any kind of motion or anything like this?
I don't think we need a fundraising director to do this.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're a little bit, the idea is good right now, but we're a little bit premature on it. But I think we can definitely get this in our calendar and then start putting some thoughts together to where we can put together a specific motion. And I still think we should do the spring clay shoot and maybe a golf tournament in the summertime. It's not, anytime we have an opportunity to get together with a bunch of other libertarians, it's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's an opportunity to make it a fundraising event. And I know Lance's kids want to learn how to shoot a shotgun, so I think they would be.
Yeah, I just bought one last week, actually, so.
Make a thing, the
Spring shoot would be awesome.
Independent Institute does their
Oh,
firearms.
yeah.
But they do it in the other order.
Yeah, it's the order is very important.
Amen.
The Golden Gun Club out at Watkins has a really good clay shooting facility that's open to the public that we could probably borrow.
Okay. As we get closer to that, Kim, would you check into that and get us some details?
Yep, sure.
They only have trap and skeet. They don't have spring clays out at Watkins. But that's fine. For most people, that's fun as well. Okay.
All right, last one, and I'm in the room so we can vote on this if we go for it. So, so this is a grand idea that I have for my membership program, incentives to high-level donors. I just propose that we call it the Liberty Club. And what it is a $500 one-time donation or $50 a month for a calendar year. And what that ultimately gets you, just as side benefits, would be a free ticket to that annual fundraising dinner, a 150% off ticket to the for the annual convention, and also I would like this on you, Mr. Chair, is a monthly conference call with other high-level donors and the state chair. And basically, this is providing an avenue, and you hate to say like pay to play. I mean, everybody has a voice or so much, but we really have to lend an ear to the people who are willing to lend their dollars, because giving money, I think, is it's quite you're saddled with quite a bit of responsibility. And I think this is the best thing that I can come up with from my position to raise some more money for the party, and also to try to start seeing what the people that have the deep pockets might be looking for from us to help keep them engaged and increase their donations.
I already know that answer to that. And I'm in contact with the big donors.
Oh. And what's the answer?
Get back to libertarian principles. And that's the biggie.
Yeah.
It really is. And so, but this is something that would require a phone bank. We have to get on the phone and start calling. We don't have that many big donors. John, how many big donors do we have that are giving, say, $500 a year or more?
I've just guessed, like 5 or 6.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do the calls for that. I already know these people anyway, so it's real easy. Would you send me a list of those and their phone numbers if you have them as well?
Yeah,
Point of parliamentary inquiry. Is the donors more concerned about ideology over, say, effectiveness?
Yes. They think that we've lost effectiveness because of, this is the conversations that I've had with these people. Some of the people have left and then come back. And when they left because of ideological impurities, if you will. And when we got back on track, they came back to us. A lot of the big donors are people that they're solid libertarians. They want to see us stay solid libertarian. Now, with the effectiveness, if you're talking about us being able to get out there and get candidates elected, that's another issue and an equally important one, but it's a different question. But right now, our problem is that we don't have anybody and haven't had anybody that's willing to pick up the phone and call donors. If we got a hold of every single donor that's out there that's giving $5 a month and asking to double it to 10, it's not going to break their bank. It's sure going to make a big difference in our bank account if we can get 20 or 30 people to do that. But we need somebody to get, we need a fundraising director that's going to be able to focus on it. I gave Roger a pass because he was doing a full run for his seat. Unfortunately, after his seat, he burned out, and so we don't have Roger anymore. So we've got to find somebody that's willing to step up and take that job. I mean, it wouldn't take that much effort. I mean, the people are already giving to the party, so they're already advocates. All we have to do is get them to double their monthly contribution. And that's pretty easy when they're giving $5 or $10 a month, but bump it to 10 or 20. But if nobody calls them, it's not even going to hit their radar. They're not going to think about it. So let's really put some pressure on ourselves. Not only Lance is going to take off with the social media stuff, but that doesn't mean that we can't be making phone calls to people that we might be able to bring in as a fundraising director. Michael?
Going back to this Liberty Club, this is another idea that I like. But I would also like to add, instead of seeing the big donor level, I would like to see a couple smaller,
do some tier
layer levels to get people who can't donate that, but it gives them a goal. If we see people, well, you know, we're going to shoot for the stars to get a few big donors, but let's add a club where we can also have a couple different tiers for people to donate, for those who give $5 or $10 a month, because there are a lot of those people out there who would gladly do that. And if they had a club or a monthly recurring donation, it would be easier to get involved in something like that.
Mr. Spalding?
We used to have that. It was a 1776 club. It was great. You donated 1776 a month. You remember the club. You got a certificate or something. I don't know. But they had other levels. You could donate at $5 or whatever. So it worked well. When way back when I was treasurer, we had 20 or 30 people who were in that club. So.
Okay. Jacob, you had something you wanted to add?
Yes. Are any of you familiar with the Leadership Institute?
Yeah.
Okay. I used to work there, and we had some guides on setting up multi-tiered fundraising platforms and what you could expect and who your targets were. Like, I could talk to somebody about how to do that.
Please. As our new fundraising director.
You're digging yourself a further hole.
That does sound like an operation.
With your contact information. Chair at lpcolorado.org. State chair at lpcolorado.org. Okay. I think it's a great idea. I think we need to get on the phone with these people and get them to bump up their contributions.
And I think
the economy's good, and that we haven't seen these people raise their contributions very much. And we need to have one more level, by the way, guys, in my opinion. If you go to a guy that has deep pockets and ask him for $500, he's going to be offended. You ask him for $3,000. We need to have a higher level.
Okay.
So one higher level for the people that have the deep pockets. I experienced that personally with Jeffrey Moe. And then he gave us $10,000 and we had to return it, or a good portion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30-50.
But that happened with Jeffrey Moe. So I vowed that I'd never make that mistake again. But that was 3 years ago.
Well, with that kind of donation, basically anything we're putting on that costs money, you can give them a free ticket because you're at your donation maximum anyways. I mean, they paid their way into just about anything at that point in time if you get the max. So I think I mean, if this, I don't know if we need a motion on this.
Question.
Yeah.
No, that's
yeah,
the question. Do we have a
motion?
Yeah,
the motion I would like to make is and because I need some help on this, because I think we need to do, other than just calling donors, we need to do like a marketing campaign on social media and stuff like that, put something onto the website, spiff it up to sell it, to sell the benefits and things like that. So I'm gonna need some help with that. But the motion would be to revive the monthly donor program and expand it into a yearly donor club.
Okay. We have a second?
Second.
Okay. So the motion stated is we will expand donation procedure to include multi-tiered donation opportunities that will be exposed through social media, email campaigns, and exposure on our website.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so that we can incorporate the ideas that we get as far as the multi-tiered concept. Okay.
Oh, from Jacob over here.
Right. Okay, want to make sure the motion's good.
Okay, discussion, John?
We're gonna be using Stripe with our new website. And I've already got some different donators, some different levels. I can't remember if I gave them goofy names or not. Abraham Lincoln, I don't remember, but I can, whoever needs to know, I can provide that information.
Okay.
What I've got set up now.
I guess there's one more thing we have to add to the motion. Forgive me. We need to put a date on this and some people behind it. So it sounds like, Matt, you want to volunteer for this?
Yeah, y'all have it.
Obviously, this is something that our fundraising director is going to have to be this, because this is their wheelhouse. Once we have a fundraising director, we're going to have them basically running the show on it. Michael?
In regards to setting a timetable, pending some information, I think it would probably, we could roll it out through the email and the social media. But I really think at our upcoming convention, we need to make a big to-do about this and really let them know, hey, we've got this new program, and give them a good, warm, fuzzy feeling right in front of the public. Say, hey, this is a new program for the Libertarian Party of Colorado.
Is that when you want to take the sheet off?
Absolutely.
That's great.
Well, don't we want it to go live like in January? So
Yeah,
that we can
we
get
can go
some
live,
people,
but I think we
soft
really
start.
make a,
and
we really
the
make a
50% off the
big-
convention.
Exactly, an instantaneous selling point.
Okay.
And can we have the little stick-on ribbons, whatever, that say
Yep.
membership
Liberty
club?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could totally do
So
that.
we can have people walking around at convention with those ribbons.
Just like how nationally got like lifetime member and all that. Yeah. I like it.
Okay. Did I hear a second on this one?
Yes, you did.
Any objections? Okay, passes without objections. In the absence of a fundraising director, Matt, I'm going to drop this one in your lap. If you get it rolling and make sure you have the right people on board with you. But I think the importance is to get on the phone and call these people and start the ball rolling. John's going to send me a list of all the numbers again. I'll call all those.
How far back do you want to go?
Let's go back 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. And then if you provide the balance of all the donors to Matt, going back 3 years as well. All donors, $5 a month, whatever they give.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Just have it up.
Only monthly or all donors?
All donors.
If we're going to be calling these people, should we not have like, hey, it's Kim calling from the Libertarian Party of Colorado. I have 3 quick things I want to touch base with you about. I want to let you know about this. Are you coming to convention? And, something else that we want to, so that we're knobbing all the words with one start.
I think
absolutely. I think we start promoting we start talking about our annual dinner and stuff with them. And say, here's some things that we're looking at, and throw it out there.
Yeah, sure. Just show that there's movement.
So it'll be on the website this year? Is that true?
What?
I would say after the first of the year, so that you don't get the years crossed and the donorships going with the money paid forward. So yeah, I think if we try to do it first of the year, or that should be square.
On the website.
Yeah, if we can do that, Dave, if that's possible to get it up on the website over the holidays by the first of the year. I don't want to put anything on somebody during the holidays because that's a jerk move.
On the list of donors to Matt, do I take out ones that have only purchased convention tickets or include them?
Yeah. Josh?
How about the first week of January, give them a little bit more time?
Kim?
Would it be easier if we put together a graphic that could be put on
The website?
the website?
Yeah. Liberty
Matt,
Club.
do you want to work with me on making that graphic?
Yeah, or we could get with Eric on
As
that
well?
too, yeah.
Okay.
Eric Sherman. Keep him doing things. Don't have to go upside his head.
Okay, guys, I have any further discussion on that? That's no. Okay. I have one more thing I wanted to add. I went to the Denver affiliate meeting 2 weeks ago. They had pretty good turnout. They had about 20 people there. David was there as well. We had a great turnout, and they are ready to do. I should probably wait until Steve gets back, but they want the state party to do the same thing for them that we did for Jeffco, and that's to do a statewide kickoff to start them up and running. We want to step up into leadership positions. Victoria Reynolds is no longer living in Denver, so she can't take that position. Daryl Dingus, this is not his forte. So we need to bring somebody else into the fray that can pick up the pieces in Denver and run with it. So as soon as Steve gets back, we'll expand on this, but Denver's ready to do it. And I think we kind of made a promise to Denver that we would do them next rather than Weld County. You don't have anything going to Weld County at all at this point, do you, Matt?
No, getting that dinner with the board thing is going to be the closest thing. Like I said, that's January. I guess it kind of depends on if you're trying to help this Denver meeting or the next one.
Well, this is a meeting outside of their regular meeting time.
Oh, okay, okay.
So the way we did Jeffco, it might correct me if my memory is incorrect. We set up a meeting that was outside of their regular business meeting. I think we met at a Denny's or something like that. And we just wanted to have an involvement. No, actually, it was at the bar.
It was great.
And we had a good list of people and
35 people showed up.
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah. Then we put a subsequent meeting at Denny's where we got the details and they elected some interim officers to get them up and running.
And then there was another meeting in Golden since then, and we got more people who volunteered and it worked out well.
And now you have a regularly scheduled meeting happening at Jose O'Shea's every month.
Yeah, so we seem to have a template.
We need to do the exact same thing in Denver. They've asked for it.
That's nice that they're asking for it. I like that.
Yep. So that's a good thing.
So who's doing that?
I don't have a motion on this one here. I just wanted to throw the idea out. And I'll be in contact with Steve about it. And of course, for the first meeting, if anybody that wants to come from the board can come to the meeting and just be there in support. But Denver already has a pretty good group of people that have been showing up fairly regularly to their meetings. And we need to take advantage of that and grow that group. There's a lot of people in Denver proper that are libertarians. We need to make sure they have a group to go to that's actually active and not just getting together for beers. Yeah.
Well, I think we have an opportunity again. We should get back with the decriminalized Denver people, and if we bring them in as well on that meeting, we're going to get some extra people for sure. And that's something to engage libertarians on. Is like, you want to go get some signatures on 16th Street Mall so we can have psilocybin mushrooms? We say, yeah.
Steve, to bring you up to speed, what we've been talking about is I went to the Denver meeting 2 weeks ago, and they had about 20 people there. It was a good turnout. Terrible venue, of course, but we're not going to get into those details. But they actively asked the state party to get involved and do the same thing for Denver that we just done for Jeffco.
Okay.
So let's make that happen. I'll help you. I'll do it the same way I did with Jeffco.
We have speakers.
let's get that, so put together a date. Daryl has a place to meet, so reach out to Daryl. He's on a place that is reasonably quiet where there's room for plenty of people.
Okay.
And so reach out to Daryl and get all the details and then get it in Lance's hands so that he can get it advertised and we can plaster it all over the place. And then, of course, send an email to all those people that live in the Denver metro area. No reason to send it out to everybody in the state, but all the people who live in the Denver metro area, a lot of them work in Denver, even if they live in Jeffco, and they'd love to come to a Denver meeting. Those are the things that we need to put in place. Kim?
And make sure it's not the same night as the Liberty on the Rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of them go to that.
Okay. Lance, do you have something?
When are we thinking this would happen? After the holidays?
I don't think it'd be practical to try to do it before the holidays. Let's do it after the first of the year, but let's get the wheels in motion now and start advertising.
It would be good before the 7th, because that's when the deadline is for the psilocybin folks to get their signatures.
That's gonna be tough.
Maybe we should try to
Exactly,
get them in
and
for
that's
the
why I
holiday
bring it
party.
up.
Do we do it? We just, you know,
My experience, any meetings that you have scheduled, regular monthly meetings that are in December, you get about a third of the people you normally get. It's just,
right. Unless you serve cookies.
Go ahead.
Unless we go with
Hold on, Kim. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, anytime in January would be awesome, because that's when we'll start campaigning. We'll be going door to door in Denver Metro, in Denver proper, and for Libertarian Party in Denver, we'd be more than happy to attend and be part of that.
Well, I would encourage you guys to go to the Denver affiliate meetings as well, the Denver Development Group meetings as well, and get to know those people that are libertarians in Denver. You might even be able to get some people that are willing to help you collect some signatures.
When is the next meeting?
Let me go. I think Lance has it in his calendar.
So third Tuesday, so I guess it's a week from tomorrow.
20th? Be the 20th then, right?
The 20th, they have a meeting.
Yeah.
And that's just a regular social meeting, but it'd still be good for you guys to show up but reach out to, are you on Facebook?
I am, yeah.
Okay. Reach out to Daryl Dingus. How do you spell his last name?
DINGES.
And tell him who you are and that I recommended that you reach out to him. And that maybe you'd like to speak at his next meeting. His next meeting is going to be a social meeting. It's not going to have any formality to it at all. Just a bunch of people getting together for burgers and beers.
Cool.
So it's very, very relaxed, just a fun meeting. And but I think he'd love to have you.
Excuse me. He's the Denver chair?
He is the guy that is kind of an interim organizer right now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then just maybe I missed it, but to clarify, are we using the same date or you're talking
Exactly
about
the same thing we did in Jeffco.
But on the 20th, they already have their meeting?
No.
Or are you talking about?
I would move that we do it on the January 2nd.
Yeah.
I realize that's one day after New Year's, but I don't drink that much anymore.
Hair of the dog.
What about the 3rd? Why are you picking the 2nd?
For this
just because that would be give them the most time to do one last push for their signatures, you know?
Oh.
That's it.
That week will be.
I mean, could do the 3rd too.
I
What's
really
the
don't care.
date?
You guys decide on it and just let me know. I'll be there. You're right. We are out of time. Do we have any last business?
Just
Ms.
one quick comment. Sarah Daggers is coming into town, so we're having drinks at Northside Tavern, 6 o'clock Wednesday night.
Thank you, Kim. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
I have two motions. That counts as a second. We are adjourned.